What up, guys? It's your boy BZ back again with today's video. It's Sunday, I think it's the 7th, I don't know, 7th of January. If I'm not mistaken, we've already made 7 videos this week. I'm pretty sure I put out a video every single day. The only day that I didn't actually film and put the video up is the video I put up yesterday, which was kind of like a throwback video from, I think it was 2010 when we put that out originally on Vimeo. But we made it. We're at like 7,200 subscribers on our road to 10K. Then when we hit 10K, we can make another goal. If we hit 10K, we'll see what happens. And today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about how I got into making a clothing brand, how I got into making clothes, how I got into screen printing, all that stuff. And it's like, I think my reasons for getting into making my own brand are a lot similar to what you guys do, but also I think it's probably going to be a lot different at the same time, because in order for you guys to understand why I did what I did when I started, you guys kind of have to get the backstory a little bit. And I'm going to keep this really, really quick, at least the backstory portion, because I do want to do like a FAQ video about me or whatever. But essentially, I grew up with one parent. My mom, she raised me, my brother, and my sister. She worked like literally every single day, and we didn't have a lot growing up. We had a lot, considering it was coming from one person who had like a very, very, very average job. But we didn't have an excessive amount of things. And it was like the neighborhoods that we grew up in, we always lived in like the crappiest part of like a pretty decent town, if that makes sense. So when I would go to school, being from like the crappiest part of a decent town, everybody at school had money. You could tell, like, this was before kind of like cell phones were in kids' pockets. But like the schools that I went to, like middle schoolers had like the little Nokia brick phones. Like everybody kind of had a little cell phone. Like even in high school, it wasn't to the point where every single person had one till I was like a senior, and then everybody had sidekicks or whatever. But the point is, I grew up in like the poorer part, and we didn't have a lot of money. So I started having jobs at like 11 years old. And even before that, I would do tons of stuff around the neighborhood, flipping Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, flipping video games, trading. I would do all these things to get money. And then I would go to Lakeside Mall, and I would go to the mall and buy like nice shoes, nice clothes. I was at H&M, Forever 21. I was at places like that literally every single week buying clothes. Because when I went to school, I didn't want people to see me as like, oh, you're from this part of the town. Oh, you're this, you're that. I wanted people to be like, oh, I didn't want to blend in, because I was like literally one of 3 kids in Dakota high school in this time that even wore tight pants. This was before Kanye West had tight pants. Like literally gangsters wear tight pants now. But back when I was in high school, I was like one of a few, like literally less than 5 kids that had tight jeans. I wanted to stand out. I had probably like 200 pairs of shoes. I wore none of them the same time, back to back to back. I had a 2-month shoe rotation, so I wear a different pair of shoes every day for 2 months. I would just rotate, and all my shoes look new. I wanted all my clothes to be crispy. It was like, I think growing up poor like that kind of made me focus on clothes, because especially in high school, that's how I feel like kids judge who they want to hang out with, and like who has money, who doesn't, who's cool, who's not cool. And that was just how it was perceived. So for me, I like hyper focused on apparel. I loved matching my outfit. I never wore clothes that didn't match. I had to match my shoes to my shirt, my hoodie, my hat. Everything had to match. And I was a skateboarder as well. And if you know anything about skateboarding, it's all very, 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 very low quality clothes, but it's all about the brand. So every brand had their little like subgenre. You had like the pothead brand, the athlete brand, the dirty ghetto kids brand, the this, the that. And as I got older, and because I didn't really mess with skate brands that much when I was younger anyway, but as I got older, I felt like I didn't resonate with any of the brands that existed, and honestly, I found them tacky. Like I felt corny if I wore like a Baker t-shirt. I've never owned a Baker t-shirt, but this is my thinking behind it. Like I would feel corny if I wore a Baker t-shirt and then went to the skate park. Like to me, skateboarding and apparel is supposed to be about individuality, and there's nothing individual about buying some junk from the mall and then wearing that to the skate park. Is like corny, and it's like the core values of these brands I didn't really agree with. I didn't care for. Like, how could I resonate with some bullcrap from California? I'm from the D. I'm not from California. I don't want to rock no palm tree bullshit. Like, put an abandoned house on my shirt. That's what I know. Abandoned house. Like, and I actually have released a shirt with an abandoned house on it. That was part of our hometown collection a few years ago. But it's like for me, that was my expression. You know what I mean? Like give me the Bird and Diamond D logo. For me, that was how that was what I knew. Like these things are like what I resonated with. I didn't want to rock some junk that said Hollister, California, or Oceanside, California. I don't care about that. I'll go to California and eat some Mexican food and go check out the beach, but like I don't want to live there. I don't want to wear their clothes. I wanted my stuff. And that's the thing, like being from a place like Detroit, and just Michigan in general, we don't really have any representation outside of Michigan. You know what I mean? Like most of the people that rock Detroit clothes, they got them from the bodega. They got them from the gas station. You could get a hat that says Detroit on it for like $5 at the gas station. But like, and you have the other brands that just say Detroit something something, Detroit something something. For me, that's corny too. So it's like, I wanted to have something that was from the city that wasn't like suffocatingly representative of the city. Like Epyon Royal is a brand, and it just so happens to be from Detroit. It's not a like Detroit Royal, Detroit this, but it's still Detroit. It doesn't need to say it all over everything. And I think I'm getting off topic, but it's like so when I started the brand, it was like I wanted to wear something that was me. I wanted to wear something that I felt like I could build my own culture around, but also include the culture of like the city, the conies, the skateboarding, the landmarks, the Black history, everything that I think is dope. Like that's what I wanted to do. For example, like this, a Joe Louis Fist hoodie. These aren't even available on the website, so I'm not trying to advertise it really. Like to me, this is Black culture to me, but it's my culture too. I identify with this being a Detroiter, but Black culture identifies with this for being Joe Louis Monument and Joe Louis fighting for the rights of African Americans, equal pay, like social justice. And for me, that's what I grew up in. I didn't resonate with like fucking Katy Perry and all this bullshit. So when I got out of in high school, let's start in high school. When I first started making shirts, I would buy shirts from like Joann Fabric, Michael's Arts and Crafts for like a couple bucks. I'll buy spray paint, and then I would buy like poster board, and I would draw like a design or whatever. I would cut out a stencil, and I would put it over the shirt, and I would spray paint them. And I would make like 20 to 30, 40, 50 of these. And in the morning in Dakota, I would go, there was this thing called the atrium where everybody sat for like around a half hour or so before the actual school started. I would get there early as hell. I got to school like 6:30, and I would fold all these shirts just how you see them, like this, folded. I would sit at the table that's right in front of the atrium with my homies, because they were all kind of bums, so they would drive with me to school anyway. And I would just sell them for $5. Granted, I wasn't making no money because the shirt was like $3.50. The spray paint was X amount, but I would just sell them for $5, and then before you knew it, like all the little freshmen had my shirts. Like the kids in my grade, like I think I was like a junior when I started doing this. Kids in my grade, they didn't wear that. Half of them, like, it's whatever. But the younger kids, they always fuck with me. Like they always, like, they looked up to me. Some of them, like, they always supported what I did. And before I knew it, like, I was doing this like every week, going to Joann's, buying shirts, this and that. And I would make custom shirts. That was kind of like my first like foray. I don't know if that's like a real word, but that was like my first experience making a shirt and like promoting it, selling it, wearing it. And I did it because I wanted something that was unique to me. Let me make sure this camera's still recording. Anyway, I think it's still recording. Hopefully it beeps if it stops recording, because I don't want to redo this video. But so that was my start. I didn't keep doing it from there. I kind of stopped. Like I said, I had day jobs. I worked at Red Lobster like over 30 hours a week for like 3 years straight in high school. I was getting paid really well for the time, but that job kept me satiated. Like I couldn't afford to have like a car payment. I couldn't afford my own place working there. I could afford my bills and to buy fresh shoes and stuff, because I still live with my mom at that time. But for me, it was like that job was like, oh, you know, I don't want to jeopardize this job. Like I don't got time, because I was literally working probably 5 days a week, going to school 5 days a week. So that was my first thing into it. When it got to a point where I lost my job at Red Lobster, I was already graduated from high school. And up until that point, like I didn't think I was going to do anything with my life. When I was younger, I always wanted to do more, but it was just so hard for me to see beyond that, because I didn't have any examples of like, oh, this is how you get money. This is how you get paper. This is how you get rich. This is how you get respected. This is how you educate yourself. So like I didn't see a bigger picture. But when I lost my job at Red Lobster, I was like, damn, you know, do I really want to just get right back into another hourly job? Like, do I want to hop right in? Because I didn't think I could afford college. And I didn't know there were programs out there that could like pay for me to go. So I was like, man, I just want to design stuff. And I was already designing on Photoshop. I had this bootleg Photoshop CS2 disc that I got from my boy Fernando. I'm pretty sure he's the one that gave it to me. I don't even know if he knows this, but like he had this like bootleg Photoshop with a keygen. I don't know how he got it. He gave it to me, and that kind of like enabled me to even start designing. Before that, I never used Photoshop. I never used any of those apps. And this is Fernando, like you see in the videos. But that kind of like gave me a tool where I could create, and I'm like, oh shit, like I can make things on this app, and I could use it board design. I could make shirts. I could design flyers for my bands. I could design anything. Like that program alone, it kind of like liberated me and said, hey, it doesn't matter where you come from. Here's all the tools you need to create visual things that you could apply to physical things, and then flip those and make money. So when I got fired from Red Lobster, I already had the background of designing. And I didn't take no classes for it. I just did it on my own. Just like I never took business classes. Nobody ever taught me how to make a video. But so I was like, man, I just want to make shirts. I hopped on Photoshop, and I wanted to make a logo. Well, I wanted to make a picture. I didn't know it was going to be a logo, but I just started designing like, man, I didn't even know what I didn't know what the brand name was. I didn't know what the story was going to be about. I just knew like, I don't want to fucking go somewhere, clock in, and then burn myself all day frying shrimp and making all this food and getting covered in cocktail sauce, and then having some like 30-year-old balding depressed guy boss me around because he ain't making money driving like a Pontiac G6. And it's like, I hated that. You know, like when you know you're meant for more, but you're letting people who aren't meant for more boss you around, it really gets to you. So I was like, man, I don't want to go to another day job. I made this logo. I don't know if you guys can see that. the original Bird and Diamond with the ER. I made that. It was supposed to be just a design. And I was like, all right, I did a little bit of MySpace research for screen printers. I found a screen printer up in like Saginaw. There's probably one like right in my area, but I just knew of this one in Saginaw because they made t-shirts for the band I was in. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make 50 of these. So I sent them the picture, blah, blah, blah. They printed them, and it wasn't horrible quality, but it wasn't like good. It was just like the basic band merch quality. And I drove all the way to Saginaw to pick them up, and the store was closed. The store was closed, and I was like, hey, you guys are closed. Like, I just showed up. I showed up like 10 minutes before they were supposed to close. Apparently they left early. They're like, oh yeah, your shirts are in the foyer. And then in this like strip mall that they were in, they had this like little foyer. You walk in and there's like, I don't know what it's for, but there was a garbage bag with my shirts in it. So I looked in the garbage bag. I was like, oh, hell yeah. They weren't even folded or nothing. These dudes threw it in the garbage bag. And I grabbed the garbage bag, threw that shit over my shoulder like a hood Santa Claus. And I started running to my car because I was just excited. Like, oh, I want to go look at this. This is the first thing. Like, I have a physical product now. And as I'm running to the car, a cop sees me, and I'm running across this like little parking lot, and the cop sees me, starts chasing me down, and I'm from the hood, so I just kept running anyway. And when I got to my car, the cop's like, what are you doing? What's in the bag? Put it down, put it down. My friend Tony, who was like part retarded anyway, he was in the car panicking. I'm like, bro, chill, bro. Like, so anyway, I was like, yeah, I just started this t-shirt line. Like, I just had them printed. The store was closed, so they left them in the foyer for me. And he's like, so what's in the bag then? I was like, t-shirts. He's like, all right, then what do they look like? And I told him what they look like. He opened the bag, and there was an invoice in there that had my name on it. So he was cool. He let me go. But that was the first time I had a product. And the first thing I did, I took that bag of shirts. I shook them off because like there's lint and shit on them. I folded them up a little bit, and I put them in the trunk of my car. So I had them all folded up, stacked up in the trunk of my car. I drove to the nearest skate park. I'd never been to the skate park. Saginaw is kind of ghetto if you don't know. So like I went to this like little hood skate park. It was the first place I went when I got my t-shirts. And let me see if the camera's still rolling. Hey, 17 minutes, baby. Anyways, so I go to the skate park, and I had like a little experience selling shirts from school. So like I literally just started going up to people. Oh, hey, I just started this brand. You want to buy a shirt? How much are they? And I was like, well, I used to sell my shirts for $5. I know this is like me thinking in my head. I was like, I used to sell them for $5, and I never made enough money to get more shirts made. And I don't have a day job. So I need to sell these shirts for at least double what I paid so I can at least make enough to make more, and then I could get a little bit. Which ended up not happening because I ended up making double and then just putting double into more shirts. Like I said, I was living at home with my mom. So the only money I would take for myself for like literally 2 years, 3 years was for gas to get to the next place that I had to go, shows, skate parks. So I was like, yeah, they're $10 each. And the kids are like, yeah, $10, blah, blah, blah. I love the design. And I just started selling them. And then naturally, there was some kids there that was hating, and I was still pretty quick to pop off back then. And these kids like, yeah, your shit is gay, blah blah blah. Get the hell out of our skate park, blah blah blah. You're not even from here, blah blah blah. And I was like literally trying to start a fight, but they didn't want to fight. So when we got in when we got in the car, they started all yelling. Yo, I hopped out of that car. It was in drive. I hopped out of the car and ran up to them. They started scattering. But my car was in drive. So my car was ghost riding across a parking lot. So I was like, all right, I got to get the hell out of here. But long story short, it's like, that's kind of how I got into making and selling t-shirts. I just started selling. I started at that first park, and I literally sold like 10, 15 shirts. I left that place with like 100, $150 in my wallet. Like, yeah, I'm fucking rich, man. Because if you think about it, like, I was making a decent amount of money at Red Lobster. Maybe like $12, $13 an hour or something like that. Um, and I was just like, bro, I made all this money in only a few minutes of selling t-shirts there. That would have taken me like 2 shifts at Red Lobster after taxes. Like, this is crazy. I like in retrospect, like 150 is nothing. If I go to an event today and sell shirts and make 150, I get angry. I'm like, yo, I'm never coming to this event again. But back then, for a young guy to like make 150 real quick and have people love what he did, and now you had the money to make more, because that 150, that was like what I spent on the whole original collection, like, or may as well. No, it wasn't that. It was like 200. It was something, but it was just liberating. So from there, that's where I focused. I always went to skate parks, and I just had them in my car. I'd always wear them, and I would try my best. I would always try to skate my best. That way I was like a good representation of the brand, and people that would watch me skate, they would feel more comfortable to buy from me because they know, oh, this ain't no poser. He can definitely skateboard. Um, and honestly, from there, that's where it started. I started going to skate parks and this and that. Like, I wasn't in a band anymore. I was just focusing on my clothing brand, and I started getting invitations to go sell at local hardcore shows. So I would do that too. So now, damn, during the week, I'll be going to the skate park. And on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll be at hardcore shows downriver, in Detroit, up north, like all over the place. Flint, um, and sometimes you drive like an hour away to a hardcore show and sell one thing. But that was it. You know, it was like just getting the name out there. I think that's why a lot of brands die, because they're not willing to do that. And I think that's why Epyon Royal's been able to stay around and like continuously do better and better and better every year, because I was willing to put in that groundwork for years. Like, literally years. I was making next to nothing, just driving to the Modern Exchange every weekend, driving to like fucking clubs in Flint, and it was just like I wasn't getting paid, but I knew what I was doing was going to lead to something that would help me get paid. And the feeling of having somebody wear my brand, and like when it started to develop and there was Stay Royal, the slogan, and the name had a meaning and the logo had a meaning, and I had 5 to 10 good designs, well, good designs for me at the time. It was like this thing, like, yo, I'm really, really building something. Friends that I hadn't talked to for years jumped on board. They were excited about it. I started having people that would come with me to these shows and to these events to help me. And I felt like I was building almost like an army of people who were going to defend my dreams. That's how I felt. Um, Sometimes I still feel like that, but people are let down. But it's like there are a lot of people that really mess with what I do, and that's kind of how I felt. So that's how I looked at it. Like, I treated everybody that really repped the brand. I still treat people like as the person that printed it, the person that designed it, the person that packaged the orders. Like, I literally looked at them on the same level as I saw myself. So when people would come up to my table and buy a shirt from me, I literally treated them as if they were a CEO of this purchase. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always appreciated people. I always let people know I appreciated them. I always let people to know to tag us on MySpace, Facebook, and then later when Instagram came to Android and really blew up, I always let people know, like, yo, I appreciate it if you could post a picture. And I guess that's how I started a brand. I could literally talk all day. This video could be 2.5 hours of me just sitting here talking, but I want to respect your guys' times. If you want more videos like this of me telling you about like the come up, and because there's a lot of stuff that like bad stuff, like like people wanting to fight, and like people scamming me and all this stuff, man. Like, there's a lot of good and bad stories, and I think it could be of value to you. If you are interested, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, and people have been telling me that my videos aren't showing up in your subscribe box, probably because I'm such a small channel. YouTube isn't like prioritizing me at all. If you could hit the notification bell, you'll just get like a little thing pop up on your phone. Epyon Royal posted a video. I would really appreciate it. And if you are coming back to this channel constantly to like look up things, but you're not subscribed, I'm just gonna ask you, please subscribe. It really helps me. I really want to hit 10,000 subscribers this year. I think we're gonna do it pretty quick, but small goals at a time. I'm not even looking at the next goal until we hit the 10K. I really appreciate you guys. It's your boy Beezy. I'm out. Peace.